Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Nerd News. It's been a hell of a week and a half for me, and I apologize for the brief hiatus, but we are back in earnest. So, let's talk about today's news headline, which is that The Sims have given some challengers. From Bloomberg, written by Jason Schreier, the illustrious Jason Schreier. Veteran game makers look to take on The Sims. After 23 years at Firaxis, Jake Solomon reveals his plans for Midsummer Studios. From XCOM to The Sims, Jake Solomon spent 23 years at Take-Two Interactive's Firaxis studio, where the director of games such as XCOM, Enemy Unknown, XCOM 2, Marvel's Midnight Suns. And early last year, Solomon quit his job to co-found a new company called Midsummer Studios, which raised $6 million in venture capital to develop a life sim game in the vein of The Sims. Recently, Jason Schreier interviewed Solomon, who spoke about the new game, his goals for the studio, and the unusual work connection to Firaxis founder, Midsummer, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get into the interview. If you want to read it, you can just type it in the name of this video into Google, and it will pop up on Bloomberg. But, that being said, I want to talk about the importance of an industry veteran like Solomon going to try to take on the Sims. And if I'm being perfectly honest, the Sims is in the life sim genre is one of the most, if not the most stagnant subgenres of video games. In I would say, short of, I don't know. I mean, there's really no comparison, honestly. Like, even Candy Crush has its cheap imitators that are competent. Even, like, for every Bejeweled, there's still a Candy Crush to compete with it. For Call of Duty, there's still Battlefield and Halo. Like, World of for World of Warcraft, there's multiple good ones that are, I would argue, are better than World of Warcraft. The Sims has had a stranglehold on a player base for decades at this point. Even my partner, Meadow, she very much likes The Sims herself and wants certain things that she just cannot have as a result of EA releasing stuff packs that don't really add anything of measure to the game, or even adventure packs that are really barren. The modding community, modding The Sims, has almost become essential at this point. I see all the Sims girlies and guys out there with Wicked Whims on and shit. Y'all ain't slick, but I'm hoping. The thing is that The Sims 4 has had well over a decade, almost a decade at this point of time to effectively just drum up tons and tons of content, a lot of it being mediocre, but it's still there. So any life sim that comes out is going to have to come out the gate swinging most of the features that The Sims has, and then some, in one package. The only way it's going to be that level of successful is that you need to be able to do everything in vanilla Sims that you were already able to do, and probably look at some of the most popular mods and include those too. And then you're going to have to, how do you distinguish yourself? It's really, really difficult. It's like with let's just take the early days of Starfield being compared to a No Man's Sky, for example. No Man's Sky for almost 10 years has been releasing at least 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 expansions every quarter like clockwork. There's a lot you can do and a lot of sim stuff you can do within No Man's Sky. Starfield came out the gate and it was just felt barren of content by comparison. Functionally, at the end of the day, if you're trying to dethrone the king, you better be as good and better than the king. we'll see what ends up happening with this. There have been multiple attempts by people to dethrone The Sims and The Sims 4 and sort of like bring some innovation back to the life sim space. I do not necessarily have a lot of faith. I'm not saying that they're not going to make a great show at it. They are. But I'm pretty sure $6 million in venture capitalist funds is not going to be enough to dethrone. Even if you had like some of the most passionate people working for it. We'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Nerd News. I appreciate you, your time, and your listenership. If you are if you are so generous, $1 a month is a boon to my mental health, and you can tip me at HIMedia.gg if you are so kind. Get access to exclusive content and early access content as well in our Discord channel. Thank you so very much for listening. I appreciate you, your time and listenership, and I will hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. This has been Nerd News. I'm Evan from HIMediaTV, and I will see you guys next time.